Hey everybody, I'm the Ranting Monkey and welcome. Today I have a couple of special guests with me. First of all, my very good friend, Irate Bear. Say hello.
I'm the very special guest.
I'm trying to be nice to you and that's how you're going to start, you asshole.
Good evening, Ranting Monkey, and good evening to the chat. How are we all? I hope everyone's having a lovely weekend.
And also joining us, NoBullshit. How you doing, man? It's nice to see you.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me back on the show. Good to hear from everybody. Monkey, Bear, how's everybody doing?
Not too bad. So let's jump right into this. We discussed this a little bit on a Bear stream the other day. So if you guys saw that, you're going to see a little bit of a repeat before we get into newer stuff. I want to start with the question that I've seen a criticism of your Fall of Sargon series. For those of you who haven't seen it, it is linked in the description. Make sure you watch it after this stream. Thank you so much, Point Curation, for the donation. Wish you guys well on the discussion. No, we call that bubblegum money.
Oh, okay.
So in your Fall of Sargon series, can you explain what you meant by the Fall of Sargon? Because when I first saw it, my thought was, oh, is Sargon losing subs? And it seems to be that's what everybody was taking it to mean. Can you explain what you did mean by that?
Sure. I thought of it as a sort of series. I came up with this idea going over the holidays, coming into the new year. You probably remember a lot of stuff happening, a lot of drama with like the crowd server and stuff like that. There was like the Doxing drama, Kraut's apology video coming off the air and all that kind of stuff. So coming from there, I kind of noticed a few things like afterwards. It was more like after the Kraut drama. So that's why I decided to kind of make my own series. And the name, the Fall of Sargon specifically, I think that's what you're asking. Is, you know, I think there's some good arguments for it. I think they came out better in my second video, part 2, when he actually went into the debate with Richard Spencer, and I feel he lost pretty badly. And I think that's like the closest thing to a literal fall. I think a lot of people did take it more literally than I might have hoped. But I mean, I certainly wasn't trying to mislead or anything. I think if people that watched my channel before, they might notice I have a flair for the dramatics, especially in titles. So sometimes sometimes I like to have fun, and you know, sometimes I'll go a little over the top. I don't think I crossed any lines here, but I think to answer it most directly is, you know, this is a fall from grace. This is a fall from, you know, Sargon's kind of proverbial top of the skeptic community, and in part, and that's why I think part 1 had to go over a lot of the Kraut stuff and the other skeptics, because it's like the whole community is crumbling. So there's this sort of like fall from grace with Sargon specifically, but also all of his underlings. Like I think a lot has changed as far as their perceptions of them. Granted, I know a lot of people consider that all in subs and views in money. And that's like where they want to go to, and that's why they want to say I'm not right saying it's a fall. But I think I've explained that it's more than that. It's not just about the subs.
Oh yeah, and I my first question when I saw it, because we did discuss this the other day, and I thought that's an excellent explanation of it. But yeah, I do think everybody looks at that title and, oh, he must be losing subs. But a clickbaity title, as long as it's still true, is not clickbait. Just throwing that out there, guys. As YouTube creators, sometimes we have to what's the word I want to hype things up a little bit. And I do think, and I'm going to throw this out there, I think you made a mistake with the first video in that you did concentrate a little bit too much on Kraut without explaining why that was important to Sargon. But as a series, I think they go well together.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. And I could see, like I was mentioning before, I think a lot of people were kind of let down on the first part because they were expecting it to happen. And I might have overstretched out things. Like I was thinking I was going to do 3 parts, maybe 4. I think I ended up finishing it in 2. I could still do another one if I wanted to. I might not. I might. That's still up in the air. But I kind of like start on the second one. I added almost everything in. Besides, there's a next step. But yeah, I think it kind of, they go together. The part 1 and 2 go together.
Yeah, and like I said, if you just watch the first one, I can definitely see how people will be like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. But the two really do go together well. Real quick, thank you, Terry Diamanis. Points off for not including the phrase "babbling Brooks" in the stream title. Okay, with that out of the way. with that out of the way, I just wanted to go over that part because I think it's important to the rest of the discussion.
I could say one more thing though, because
Sure.
I'm not sure if this is clear about the title specifically. Is a lot of people are missing the fact it's like a play on the fall of Saigon. Fall of Saigon, big battle at the end of the Vietnam War, pretty much ended things, and it was like a big. You know, we could get into the history of that. That's the gist of it, and that's where I got a lot of the inspiration for the title. I thought that would land more, but I don't think anyone knows, or a lot of people know the fall of Saigon. Like I'm more of a history nerd than most probably. So I just wanted to put that that reference out there.
Discussing it specifically, what do you think? How do you think Sargon has fallen from grace? Do you think it's just in? You said how he was seen by the leader of the skeptic community. Do you think that? Okay, let's start with. Do you think the skeptic community even exists anymore?
Well, it's a lot different now. I think there was a time and there was like these cliques, and there was more of the cool cohesion, like the Cool Kids Club. Yeah, which I mentioned before, which I brought up in another video. I think that was more of a thing, but now it's kind of broken apart. Just from some people leaving, some people getting called out. And I think that's part of it. That's like where I'm going with this. And I think at the top, a lot of the stuff that Sargon did after that debate, like pretty much confirmed that he was losing it. I mean, he apologized. He did like an after debate discussion for an hour in his echo chamber. There turned out to be all these other situations that I didn't even get into. There's actually a lot more to it. And I could go over it here today. I could bring up some more stuff. I was potentially saving it for another part, but I at this point, I mean, I could talk about the stuff that's happening with the liberalist stuff all day.
Bear, any questions, comments, concerns?
I disagreed with a good portion of NoBullshit's video. I disagreed with a good portion of it, to be honest. The debate with Richard Spencer and Sargon, well, the conversation or informal debate, if you like, I thought was a complete joke. I thought they both came away looking like retards, to be honest. I thought Richard Spencer was overly aggressive. I thought Sargon was arrogant and didn't take it seriously. I don't think he's falling from grace. His numbers certainly do not reflect that. The skeptic community, the anti-SJW community, me and Monkey have discussed this. I think it's split and is now branching off into new things. I still think there is an audience for anti-feminist, anti-SJW content, stuff like that. Me and Monkey just discussed the size of that audience. I personally think it's smaller than what Monkey thinks, but we can discuss that another time, I guess. Yeah, I fail to see how Sargon's falling from grace, to be honest. I get what you're saying about the liberalist thing. It's kind of weird. I mean, I had my own criticisms and advice to hand over to Sargon. I don't know if you saw either of my videos on that. I think once he's worked out whatever kinks he needs to work out, after he's finished off his principles, he should go into alt media. I think that's the way forward.
Let me ask you right there. Do you think someone that does 3-hour live streams playing Dungeons and Dragons can be taken seriously in the political realm?
Well, he does keep those channels all separate. He doesn't do that on his main channel. He does it on his Sargon of a Cat live stream channel.
You know, I think it can be. You can take somebody seriously that way. In today's world, you couldn't do that 20 years ago. You know,
it's possible. But I think the game you're playing matters a lot. Like I've seen other people play different games, and they'll play like a Fortnite or a Grand Theft Auto standard shooter fighter games. But when you see someone playing Dungeons and Dragons, that is just cringe to me. That's just like the worst of the worst. But I could go on.
I'm gonna have to kick you off. I love Dungeons and Dragons. Fuck you.
Okay, you can say that. I'm just telling you. I think I might speak for the people on this one. I don't think a lot of people take Dungeons and Dragons seriously.
Well, I think we can separate your leisure time activities from your real self. Even taking video games themselves have been.
But does Dave Rubin, like say Dave Rubin, like who could be a comparable?
I don't take him seriously. I don't take Dave Rubin seriously.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, a bad example.
Dave Rubin has this gorgeous setup. You know, he has cameras, he has a team of people. You know, and he gets the good guests on. However, the man can't seem to admit that he's a conservative.
Sure.
And he can't moderate a fucking debate.
Okay.
Actually, he did very good with the Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro thing. If you guys haven't seen that, I definitely recommend watching it. But I get your criticisms there. But I want to get back.
What you're saying is women shouldn't go into politics.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've said before, and I don't care if I get in trouble for this. Women are a problem when it comes to politics. They're too emotional, and that's just fact. I want to get back to something you said, Bear, because I have seen on the Sargon debate a lot of people bashing Sargon. And I agree with you that Spencer was horrible as well. But I don't think Spencer being horrible takes away from Sargon being horrible. He did very bad in that debate.
Oh, I didn't say that, though, Monkey.
I know, but it does.
They were questioning what is white. Like, he was questioning what is white. He didn't even know what a color was.
Well, in my estimation, what he did wrong there, because like Millennial Woes comes on and he goes, "Is Lawrence Fishburne white?" And the obvious answer to that is Ben Shapiro white? Because they were trying, to establish who would be allowed in the ethno state. And if you saw Ben Shapiro on the street without his little Jew beanie on, most people go, "That's a white guy." So I mean, he is not good at debating in person like that. And we saw this with the Christy Winters debate years ago. And this is where I do think you're right. I do think you're right in that Sargon worked very hard to come back from that Christy Winters debate. And I think what credibility he had built up from that, at least debate wise, was just shot down because he performed horribly.
Yeah, and it's a different realm too. Like I was saying, it's politics. It's like he's trying to make this play, to be that more, I don't know, some kind of activist. And I think it's just a point where we just don't take yourself so seriously. It's like it's he's doing great videos, and I've been a fan of Sargon. A lot of people think I hate him or something, but I never hated him. I never said I hated him. I've made jokes and did videos, but I think the direction that it's going, it's just like, yeah, he was awesome, and he could go against Christy Winters, and he did lose to Christy Winters, which is actually what's happening to Bering right now. He's been losing to Christy Winters a lot too, and I just think that's really cringy.
You think Bering's losing to Christy?
Well, yeah, I mean, she took down his channel and his Twitter.
Well, in that realm, I'd give you that. But as far as the argument goes, I think he's still crushing it. And he's not even talking.
Yeah. I mean, arguments, it's besides the point at this thing. But she's been training him and just like embarrassing him. I think. I mean, I'm not like hating or still like saying Bering lost. Like, obviously he's on the right side of the argument. But when you keep entertaining those SJWs and those cringe fests, it's like it's a lose-lose. You can't win.
Well, that brings up a good point and something that you said you wanted to bring up, which we'll bring up again at the end. You have a new Twitter.
I do actually. I lost the official show Twitter, so I'm going to be going by my personal Brooks Heatherly. @ Brooks Heatherly is the new handle, and yeah, I'm just trying to get out there and not going to be silenced on Twitter.
Cool. Yeah, the link is in the description, guys, if you want to follow No Bullshit on Twitter, and make sure you do. It's sad that you're not going to be doing the way you used to, because you used to, for those of you who are not familiar with No Bullshit's Twitter style, what you would do is you'd come to Twitter, you would just drop a whole bunch of bombs and then just kind of leave and watch what happened.
Sometimes it's fun to just pull the pin and throw the grenade in and walk away.
Real quick, thank you, Circus Zero. D&D requires more think than GTA 5, so I would rather have a politician playing D&D versus GTA 5. I like both. I enjoy both of them as well. I'm concerned about what I see going on right now, both on Twitter and on YouTube, because and the Christy Winters thing is part of it. Way back when Bering lost his channel due to the Total Drama Island, the copyright thing, I said at the time that I thought it was pretty fucked up because of the reasoning behind it. I don't believe anybody who was reporting Bering at that time gave a shit about copyright. It was only done to try to silence him. And now we're seeing this on a pretty wide scale. We've seen some pretty big people get either suspended or banned from Twitter recently, largely over the Destiny stuff. Do you see this ending or getting worse, or what do you think of that as somebody who's been affected by it?
Yeah, I think it's terrible. I mean, I think it's getting worse right now. There's just a lot of bad actors out there, like people coming in with not good faith, both in Twitter and YouTube, and they're trying to get attention, and they're trying to also silence their opposition, and they'll use, like you said, they'll use any means yet necessary. I think it's terrible, and I think that's why I'm just trying to move away from it and just kind of ignore it, because most of them are just these little trolls that, you know, are trying to make a name for themselves or something like that, or just get noticed. And I think I'm just not going to play with them anymore. Like, I actually mentioned that about Destiny previously, like probably a month or two ago, when someone else suggested this, like, you know, we just need to ignore this guy. And that's what I had pretty much been doing with him. And I tried to do with some others, but, you know, you get drawn back into it. The fans will make a comment, or you make a post or this or that. It's hard. You get sucked back in. And like you said, my original Twitter, I didn't really worry about it. Like, I didn't try with that Twitter, to be honest. I mean, I had it up there and I put links to it in my videos, but it was more just I did messages. Like, I messaged you guys, I messaged other people, I had guests that I would communicate with Twitter. That was like the main function I actually used it for. Everything else was just shit posting and fucking around. But now that I've been silenced, I feel like, you know, I'm gonna just move away from the troll stuff and the debating halls of debate shit, and just focus on our videos and the stories. And, you know, I'm still gonna make some jokes. I'm not trying to get boring, but I think you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna just try to cut off those people.
It's very hard for me. I'm somebody who likes to argue, and I like shitpost arguing.
Hold on a second, Ranting Monkey. There's nearly 300 people watching this live stream and only 42 likes. Come on, guys. Come on. What are you doing?
Y'all are hurting my feelings.
Tap it. Just tap the like button.
What did you do? You know what it was that got you banned?
No, not specifically. I mean, they didn't say which tweet it was or anything, but you know, as I mentioned, it's hard to say. I mean, like you, other people have gotten banned for just the wrong words. Like, if you say fag, or, you know, you say cunt the wrong way, or even just weird context. So it could have been anything. I wasn't really trying to keep a low profile there. I didn't like say terrible things. I wasn't like, I don't think I was breaking the rules, but I would definitely you know, hurl around some insults, say someone's stupid, asshole, stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's so hard not to make those. After my ban, we were talking about this before the stream. I've cleaned up my act on Twitter. I still have fun, but yeah, there's definite lines you got to be careful not to cross. Here's something I want to talk to you about, because you are a pretty controversial figure.
Me?
Yeah, it's you. Like, this
guy.
Look at that fucking smile. He knows what he's doing.
I really don't think. I mean, I don't think I am. I'm actually. Let me rephrase. I'm not trying to be. I'm just having fun.
We can get to this in a minute, because I don't understand why you are. So we can come back to that. Thank you, Snowstorm. Fuck off. I'll judge whether I like or not when you're done.
All right, Storms.
Fair enough.
Fair. That's fair.
Fucking like it.
They're still deciding whether they like it.
But as a controversial figure, I've seen you on streams and stuff. And I've seen people go pretty hard at you, but you still seem to be pretty chill no matter who you're talking to. I think I've only seen you get upset really once. And again, I haven't seen everything you've done, every live stream, but you seem still, I mean, willing to talk to almost anyone. Is that just part of your personality, or is that just
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a kind of middle ground. I actually, now that you mention it, was something I was known for in high school at one point. I think I got the friendliest award. I don't know if that's something to brag about, but I got like the friendliest, like when they do the things in the yearbook. I was friendliest because I knew every group. I talked to everyone at some point, and I wasn't like necessarily part of one or the other. Like, I didn't play sports. I didn't do this. I actually played jazz band, so I was with some of the nerds, but not in the real band, not in marching band. Those are the real nerds. I play guitar, but anyway, yeah, I try to do that now too. I talk to a lot of people. Anyone that wants to have a conversation, you know, people confront me a lot. And you said, yeah, I do know that I'm controversial. I mean, I see it. I'm not like denying that. I'm just saying, in general, I make my videos, I make my piece, I talk a little shit. But on top of that, I have this like calmer. I'm a pretty calm person. You can ask my friends, my wife. Like, I don't really ever get angry in person. Like, I don't yell. Actually, correction. The only thing I do get angry at is I'll yell at video games sometimes. But besides that, yeah. Besides that, I don't ever get mad at like people. I mean, I might get mad, but I don't show it by being loud or angry. I'll just kind of maybe talk shit.
Gotcha. Thank you, John Johnson. Monkey, love your channel. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you. I love you back. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks.
Barry, you okay over there? You're kind of quiet. Am I just taking up too much of the oxygen here?
Yeah, dude. Can you just stop for just a minute?
Come on.
Monkey. Let me ask a Bear a question here. Why do you think No Bullshit is so controversial?
Don't hold back. I'm not sure you want me to open that can of worms.
Go for it.
No, I'm just trying to think about where to start with this.
While you're thinking, thank you, Snowstorm. Nice typo regarding the last super chat. You're giving me dead air here.
Yeah, I know, dude. I really do know. When did this fucking start?
Oh God!
I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember.
For me, it started when I was a little boy, and
he was born this way.
I was born this way. My family always hated on me. People always found me hateable at some point. I don't know.
Here's why I'm asking, and Bear, maybe this will help you with your answer. From your videos, I don't see a real reason for people to give you a lot of shit. This is going to sound wrong. I don't mean they're kind of standard for the genre. And by that, I don't mean, oh, this is cookie cutter. I mean, the topics that you cover are pretty normal for the genre. But you did go to Twitter a lot and you did some of those bombs. I think that is probably where you got most of your shit.
Yeah. I agree. I thought of that too. I thought of that a bunch of times where I was like, man, if I just didn't go on Twitter, I wouldn't get all this shit. I wouldn't get all hated on. I've definitely like sparked a few videos or videos like responding to me just by like saying something dumb on Twitter.
That's a lesson, guys. Be careful what you say on Twitter. People are listening.
No, it's a good thing though. I mean, I encourage all the videos made about me. I don't give a shit. I actually said this in the chat earlier, pre-show. I was like, please keep reviewing my videos, keep slamming me. You're giving me tons of attention and views. It all helps. I love you guys.
Yeah, I realized just how not only controversial but influential you are in the genre when I saw how well Batning's video did. I've had people make videos on me and maybe they get 100 views. Batning's video got like over 100,000 views. What's it like to be somebody can make a video about you and it goes viral? I
made Batning's career.
I wouldn't go that far. You've helped him. I will give you that.
He's the no bullshit guy. I mean, he hasn't done anything else for months, so it's pretty much, I think it's going to stick. I've done it for other channels too. Other channels are making great success reviewing me. I encourage it. You're welcome.
Me and Bear are going to do a collab about how much No Bullshit sucks.
Yeah, go ahead. Encourage it. People eat it up.
You can certainly use the fucking views, honestly. No, I obviously, because my memory's shit and I can't remember how it all fucking started. I think you antagonizing the main players, the main cliques of the genre, a few months ago when it all started, I don't think that helped.
Didn't you give shoe on head shit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who didn't give shit to is better.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I think what it is too is I had earlier on my Twitter. Earlier, I say just maybe like last year, whenever it actually started to get attention, when the channel started getting more attention. Yeah, early on, I just took it more as a joke. Like I'm more of like, I guess I'm like more old school kind of like message boards, talk shit, say whatever you want. And, you know, end of the day, we all go home, forget about it the next day. But I think I noticed a lot of people started taking it personal, and they're like very personal, and they're like get very offended, and they hold these grudges forever. I mean, for example, I actually called Shu on this one time, because Bear was right. Like when he mentioned there's a time, I guess this was like 6 months ago now or something. I'm guessing like last August or summer. And you know, I talk shit to this person, I talk shit to that person, I'm fucking around. I barely remember half the crap I said, but Shu was coming after me for like months after that. Like she would constantly like retweet the hate on me and like would be bashing me and like talking to in the comment section. She commented on all the videos about me, including the battening one and all these other ones. And she wrote like long stuff about me. Like it got really weird. And I was like, damn, she's like into me, like obsessed with me. And she said it in the comments herself. Like I quoted her. I'm like, you said you're fascinated by me, Shu. Like you're so into me. Like I appreciate that. Thanks for your interest. I'm glad you're watching and paying attention, and that's awesome. And she's like, no, I hate you. You said this about me 3 months ago. And she like dug up these old tweets and she had them saved on her computer or something. And I was just like, yeah, I said some dumb shit. I was fucking around. But like, how long are you going to hold this grudge? Like at this point, you know, you're looking worse than me. Like you're going off and off and on and on. And I just said like one thing months ago. And I don't know. I just thought that was funny.
There's a correction in the chat. Battening tells me it's over 200,000 views, not 100,000. So definitely, man. I am making a video on your ass. I am telling you.
Congratulations, Battening. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the coverage.
Do you? I think a lot of people in the genre have no problem.
They take it personal. That's what I was getting at.
They have no problem throwing barbs, but if you throw one back, they do take it personal. They seem to, definitely.
And everyone has their ticks. Like everyone has their one thing that you can get at them, and it goes south. And I think, this actually goes back to your question about why I'm controversial. I have a knack for finding those. So yeah, I have this knack for not only talking shit, but also, I mean, talking shit is like, you know, half the videos I make. So that's like obviously like one of my specialties, my speciality. And then finding that thing that triggers people. I'm not going to mention it today. I know there's one on Shu and there's one on these other people that I brought up, and it's just like they'll hate you forever if you ever mention it.
We got to talk about the elephant in the room.
There's no way to talk about me.
You're a bear.
I'm not that fat. I'm a dad bod. All right, calm down.
The alt-right.
Yeah,
you were on with Tara McCarthy, and I think it was in I Think I'm Real's second video, his response to your latest.
That was actually his 12th video about me.
He plays a clip from when you were on there talking about how you are a gateway to the alt-right.
Is this the clip that he had to note in the comments to say that he edited it and he was trying to cover up the fact that it was misleading?
See, I didn't read the description, so that's a good place to jump off. What were you saying there?
I mean, there was a long conversation there. Why don't you ask me what you're curious about?
Do you consider your content an actual gateway to the alt-right?
I think that's possible. I don't think I targeted that way or aimed for that, but I think from what I remember the conversation too, it was just kind of talking about the levels of conservatism. You know, there's conservatives, there's people that are on the right wing, and I'm just kind of more like close. I'm not centrist either, but I'm just like a conservative guy. I'm not like super fundamental or activist-y or anything. I mean, I talk about this stuff a lot, but I'm just that. And then I think what we were mentioning is, yeah, like a lot of people come to me on either side. I've done videos with you know, a lot of people on the alt-right, or I've said, people say the new right. Bear says, I think Bear mentioned the new right before and stuff like that. And it's, you know, I'll have people like that. Lauren Southern, Faith Goldie have been on the show. And then I've also talked to others that are more alt-right. I'm not sure if James also has claimed that, but he's definitely one of those other guys that are more hardcore in their politics and stuff. So I think with that, it's kind of like I'm just one of those platforms, again, like something we mentioned earlier, where I'll talk to everyone. So you could say, I'd say that's like stepping off up. into the next level. I think it's maybe just kind of like I'm a place that's open to conversation, and they'll hear a lot of different ideas.
You have played up the fact that Richard Spencer mentioned you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about you being alt-right. Are you alt-right?
I've never claimed to be alt-right. I've never been that I've never like joined that group or anything. I've never done any kind of
would you
demonstrations.
agree with an ethno-state?
No, I mean I've never advocated for an ethno-state. I think at the most I've just sympathized with people that have had those ideas, and in the simpler sense, I've never would do that myself.
What do you mean sympathize in a simpler sense?
You know, like I understand people that would want an ethno-state. I could see where they're coming from, and I've mentioned that before, but I've never said I want an ethno-state. I don't want to go into an ethno-state. I'm not trying to start one. I'm not advocating for that specifically, but you know, if we're talking about it, I think white people deserve a homeland. If we're going to bring it up, I don't think that's the craziest idea. I don't think that's racist or offensive, and I certainly stand up against it. And that's probably where people think I'm more for it, is because there's so many people saying that's racist and that's terrible, and I'm just kind of like defending it, and it might seem like I'm advocating for it, I guess.
Well, yeah, I think it sometimes comes off that way. Plus, was it after the Rage thing? You made a video addressing race realism just briefly. And to me, the idea of race realism is irrelevant. I judge people based on individuality, and I think looking at everybody as a whole, if you look at race realism, there's just as many dumb white people as there are dumb blacks in the US. So I don't think you can judge it that way. But if I remember correctly, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, what is your take on race realism?
Okay, yeah, what you were saying sounded a little off to me, but I get what you're saying. I don't think I would ever advocate to use it as like a judging means, or it's not like we're talking about race realism in order to like weed out dumb people or something. Like race realism is just science. It's facts that there are genetic differences between the races. It's just you know, I'm just identifying the fact that, you know, black people tend to be better at basketball and better at sports and running. White people have slower metabolisms that keep them warm because they come from colder climates. There's lots of other things besides IQ, of course, which you know, you could talk about, and we could go over like different divisions there, but there's a lot more to it. I think it's just my idea of bringing it up and addressing it is to basically say, hey, these people that are cucked up and denying it, if you're going to deny science, I'm going to say, hey, this is real.
Okay.
You know?
Thank you, Gregory Hurst. The Spencer debate revealed why SJWs want him quiet. He's just like them. Identity politics and collectivism by any other name is just as stupid. I am firmly against identity politics. I think the only identity you should take is based on your position on each policy proposal.
Or your positions in bed.
I don't think all identity politics is cancer.
How so?
Nationalism, depending on what your nationalism is based upon.
And in that regard, I would probably give that to you, but I still think my idea of being an American is probably not the same as Lena Dunham. See what I'm saying? What I see as being American is probably different than her. So I would prefer to still go based on, you know, I like America.
No, I meant in the sense of policy. Nationalistic policies that are not based on race, but actually based on your identity as an American.
I hear for that. I mean, I think you know, there's tradition and values. There's Americanism being for your country and your nation, your state, protecting that. Yeah, I didn't think of it necessarily as identity politics, but I suppose it could be in the way. I know typically though it's more like about race or gender or orientation. But I could see that too.
There's more than one type of nationalism, and nationalism is one of the heads of collectivism.
Real quick, before we get too far away from it, I do want to ask you, NoBullshit, if you can see why people would think you're alt-right, given that you do play up the Spencer thing. You do recognize race realism, and as you said, you can at least see where these guys are coming from, and have presented arguments not necessarily your own, but this is what they're saying. Do you see how people could see that as alt-right?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that's fair. That's not that far out of the ballpark. I think the main thing is, you know, if I was going to say someone was alt-right, like if I was going to say one of you guys were, I would go by what they claim or what they, you know, kind of go for. I think a better example was Sinatra. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think he said he was alt-right. So it's like you could say he's alt-right.
He considers himself alt-light.
Okay.
Alt-light, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I fall too, as far as on the spectrum, on the not the gay or autistic spectrums, but yeah, on the conservative one.
I'm on the spectrum.
Yeah, on the conservative one, somewhere alt-light, but I like to call it more. I'm more of a fan of the term new right. What I actually tried to coin one time in one of my videos was we're going to actually be the new right, because people like that new.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm not sure where to go from new. I had a thought and I made it.
It's hard to follow up, man. It's hard. It's a show closer. It's a show closer.
There's been a lot of talk in our genre and with the death of the skeptic community about how, you know, social justice is dead. There's no real reason to target that. What are your feelings on that? Because, and I'll give you mine real quick. I think there's still a lot of fertile ground there. I see no evidence of an audience dying off. But as somebody who makes similar content, what do you think?
I don't think it's dead. I think simply SJW, social justice, identity politics included, and the social Marxism getting pushed is still very prevalent. I think we've done good work. The videos and the ideas have been getting talked about more. There's been a lot of success, and people like us three here, making similar videos about anti-SJW stuff. But at the same time, I think it appears that way, and a lot of us might think, oh, you know, we're doing so good, we're taking off, our videos are doing better, our ideas are winning, and I think there is a turn, and there is a turn to conservatism in a way too, along with that. But the problem is, and here's some examples, this stuff is still getting pushed out there. This stuff is still getting propped up, and you know, specifically YouTube. YouTube has always been very progressive, regressive, liberal. Just this week, something I mentioned in one of my live shows was how they're still promoting MTV Decoded. MTV Decoded is still getting pushed by YouTube. It's still getting made, which is just amazing after all the shit we've given it, all the dislikes. And, you know, just if any other show did that poorly, it would be canceled. But for some reason, Decoded, you know, they're getting it up there because they're SJW stuff, because of Francesca Ramsey, and YouTube is still tweeting it. They tweeted a video of, I think it was the mixed race babies video from MTV Decoded, and that video has the worst, like, performance. It's just like, it has like barely a couple thousand views, 100 likes, 100 dislikes. It's just abysmal compared to anything else, compared to, especially, you know, it's typical. This is a 1 million subscriber channel. I think it's the MTV's main channel. So yeah, I don't think it's over. I think it's still out there a lot. I think a lot of people might see that. I can see why people see it that way, but the battle continues.
Thank you, Apollyon. Just a donation. I appreciate that. No message there. Bear, your thoughts on that? Because you and I disagree a little bit on the audience size, right?
Yeah, I'd say the audience has gone downhill, to be honest. Not the audience themselves gone downhill. I just don't think as many people are interested in it. I certainly agree that they are the social justice, neo-Marxism is a great threat that still remains in society. Yeah, sure. If you type feminism or SJW into YouTube, you'll be greeted with a wall of wrecked feminist content. That's good. That's great. However, they still have their claws firmly burrowed deep into academia, politics, schools, everywhere. You know, it's all over the place, and it's even in it's even in law, especially in British law, and that's a problem. Reaching out to a much more mainstream crowd for us, however, may prove somewhat difficult.
Yeah, I was just going to add that the school part too is getting worse in places. Another story I came across last week was they're pushing SJW stuff in middle schools and grade schools, like kindergarten to 8th grade is now getting taught the ABCs, but they're the social justice warrior ABCs, where A is for I forget what A is for, but B is for Black Lives Matter, and I can't fucking stand that.
Thank you, Snowstorm. The Young Turks still exist. That is all. Yeah, they do.
If I could just quickly address fussy notions. I did mention this when I did my fucking videos, when I gave a bit of criticism and a bit of advice to Sargon. But him going to do meetups, that's going to achieve the square root of fuck all. What Sargon and his liberalist movement should do, if they do want to affect real life and actually do actual activism, they would benefit themselves by setting up alternative media.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree.
Yeah.
Doing something more, doing a Young Turks, but the opposite side would be amazing. YouTube wouldn't promote it the same. We all know that. But yeah,
it doesn't have to do it on YouTube. I'm talking about websites here, man.
I get
the majority of alternative media seems to be hard right stuff. You know, in my mind, that the landscape could certainly benefit from a classical liberal perspective.
I could see that. I could see that too. I can't think of very many good kind of alt left pundits. Like, you know, there's like David Pakman and what's his name? One of the other guys, the lesbian soccer coach guy. Like, they're like the only ones left wing doing those kind of things. Like, now that Bear says it, I could see it kind of shifting that way, becoming a more reporter like thing.
Well, I think that would definitely be a much more effective strategy, in my opinion. I don't have a problem with the meetups themselves. I think fans really like that, and I think that's why they won't be very effective, because you're preaching to the choir there, and that's not. I don't know many people who would go, hey, there's this guy I've never heard of talking. I'm going to go see what he has to say. It's a little bit different if you're doing it on the web, where you might accidentally come across something. I had a thought, and I apologize. My memory is worse than Bear's these days.
What are you guys smoking? I want some of that.
Oh no, I'm on all kinds of medicine. I used to have a great memory to where I could literally remember conversations word for word, and now I can't remember what I said at the beginning of this stream.
Ouch.
Yeah, it sucks. It's weird getting used to it. Where do you think SJWs go from here? Is there any stupidity left for them?
I don't know. I saw a video on Now This today. It was like saying marijuana is something about the word marijuana. I
saw that. Yeah, it's problematic. So you got to call it cannabis. I didn't read the article, but I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, dude, they just go everywhere. That's the thing. Like, okay, so SJWs are pretty much in power. They run the things we mentioned: the media, the schools, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, MySpace. Oh, sorry, I got lost. They run everything. But no, it's like, okay, you give them an inch and they take a mile, and they'll never stop. You can't like appease them. So that's the point I want to get out. We mentioned this marijuana word they're trying to change. Something else that just happened a couple days ago. Canada is changing its national anthem because they want to be gender neutral. So it's just shit like that is where we're at now. That's where we're at.
I haven't seen the lyrics of the new national anthem, but I hope it's as gay as it sounds. Because
it's just simple. It's just like, oh, Canada, and then instead of saying of thy sons in need or something, they say of us all in need. It's like one little change. It's, you know, on face value, it's not that big a deal, and I could see people just going along with it, but I think it's symbolic, and it's just
problem.
Like, yeah, go ahead.
You just hit on the biggest problem with social justice. The majority of people in the world, I would argue, don't actually agree with the crazy nonsense that comes out of them. However, what they do will say, oh, you know, that's not a big deal. It's okay. I mean, does it really matter if she wants to be called he, even though she clearly has boobs and a vagina? That doesn't affect me. And then all of these voices saying, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. All of that adds up to the point where not that big of a deal has taken over our colleges, our primary schools, our fucking government, everything. And it's not because most people are hardcore lunatics. It's because they're nobody wants to go, stop being stupid.
Yeah, and it's back to the thing I mentioned. It's like you give them that inch, and they're going to take a mile, and they'll never stop. So the other analogy I thought of it is just kind of like appeasement. It's like, and I know Nazi analogies are pretty trite nowadays, but I mean, if you think about it, it's like appeasing Hitler. You try to just negotiate with them, and you say, just stay here, just here's your line, but they'll just keep going. You can't appease them. You have to fight them and stop them, and you can't give them anything like this word in the pledge or changing marijuana to cannabis. Not to sound too overly dramatic, but I think that's an actual legitimate Nazi comparison.
Bear, as somebody who lives in a country where you don't have quite the free speech we do.
But before we start slagging off England, because I can go on for weeks about my own fucking country. Hell, I can sit here for the next hour and talk shit about Diane. But no, have you guys seen the new letter added to the LGBT 123 list?
Which one?
They've now added a K to the list, and it stands for kinks. So if you're a bit of a horn dog who likes getting pissed on, guess what? You're now a part of the. By the way, there's also the number 2 is in there.
I saw the number 2. Yes, for
Two Spirit.
Two Spirit for fucking.
I'm just waiting for them to change the entire acronym into the word keyboard.
Well, here's the thing. Do you know why they're doing that? It's the same reason they changed intersex. Intersex comprises so many things that have nothing to fucking do with each other. A hermaphrodite, somebody born with a penis and a vagina, is not the same as somebody born with a really, really, really tiny dick. They're not the same thing, but they put all of them.
Just destiny.
Yeah. Oh, you fucker. And now we're all going to get flagged. No. The reason they keep adding more and more to this is because that way everybody's part of the group, and you have to. It's intersectionality at its literal finest. They are including everybody. I'm surprised they haven't added H for heterosexual yet. Seriously,
no, fuck heterosexuals.
Yeah, no, they still need somebody to bash on, but they've included so many people. Like Bear, you just said kink. You could be a heterosexual person who likes to get beaten in bed. Suddenly you're LGBT. That's not even close to the same thing. Not even fucking close.
You know, yeah. I tell you what, as an experiment, I'm going to go to the next gay pride in Manchester, right? I've been there before. I know the crowd, whatever. I'll go along and I will tell them that I am a part of the LGBT community. But I'm not going to tell them that I'm bi. I'm going to tell them that I like getting kicked in the balls. Not by black midgets who are missing a left arm, and I just want to see whether I get kicked the fuck out of or not.
They might call you on it, and you might need to wear a cup for that endeavor.
Yeah, no, in my luck, a fucking little black amputee midget will walk out of the fucking bar and go, all right, then.
Well, you asked for it. They just like pull out whatever you name. You could come up with the weirdest shit ever.
They're just being inclusive, damn it.
Yeah, the 2 means two spirit.
Yes, two spirit.
I'm not entirely sure what that actually means, if I'm honest.
I think it means crazy.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of it does. A lot of it does. And then, this reminds me just back to some of the other things we were mentioning where the SJWs go from here. It's like a lot of it now is this word police, word changing, phrasing. It's not trannies anymore. You can't say tranny. You sound like an old racist. So it's like trans and it's transgender. And then the worst one? People of color. I remember when
I hate that so much.
Colored people was the biggest racist term ever, and now, well, if we just call them people of color, that makes it better.
Yeah, it sounds like a book title.
The one that worries me the most right now is the sex scandals, and not because I care if somebody who's actually harassing women gets slapped down for it. There's been no due process in any of this. You have people like Harvey Weinstein, who after it came out what he's accused of, said he was going into counseling. Apparently there's douchebag counseling out there. But most of the other people involved, I mean, they haven't said, yeah, I did that. Or we had the case where some have gone, I didn't do that, but I think you should still believe the woman. There's actually one of those cases. I forget which one it was. Some old guy who was going to retire anyway. He was like, I don't remember it that way, but you should probably, believe her. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You are literally going, yeah, just fucking give me shit. Thank you, Point Curation. He linked what Two Spirit is in the chat over there. So
yeah,
people
and I
watching,
think that me too.
I say people watching tomorrow won't be able to see that, but yeah, just look up Two Spirit and you can find it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say the Me Too part going further, it's just them turning on themselves, this liberal Hollywood elite at the most. And, some ways, a lot of just left wingers and stuff, they're turning on themselves. They got caught with the Weinstein stuff, and that scandal was too big to ignore. A scandal which, let's be real, that would have never came out if Hillary Clinton was president. This is coming out now, like all this other shit, like the memo. It's all this shit's coming out now because the Clintons and Democrats are out of power. That's besides the point. What I'm getting at is, this exposed them with the Weinstein reveal, exposed them, and now they're doing Me Too and Time's Up, and that's just basically them turning on each other because they came up with Me Too and Time's Up. That's like a PR move at the inception, and then now we're seeing, like you mentioned, the story of these people blaming these people. We had Aziz Ansari getting accused from this girl who just had a bad date, who blew him twice, but somehow the next day she decides it was rape. I don't know how that works.
Just to quickly interrupt, my alt-right furry dad is in the chat. Hi, Bearing.
I see that. Hey, Bearing.
Also, I'll be back in a moment. I need a tinkle.
Hey,
yeah, and Bearing said, and I agree with you, Bearing. Bearing says, I maintain that comedian who jerked off in front of those chicks did nothing wrong. Nothing. That is Louis C.K. And I agree. There is nothing in any of the charges against him that says he did anything that women didn't agree to.
Right.
They're all like, yeah, I guess if you want to beat off in front of me, go ahead and do it. And there's one of the charges against him was that he asked a woman to do that, and she said no, and he yelled at her and said she was insane or something like that. Yeah, but he still didn't whip his dick out. Mm-hmm. That's literally asking for consent and waiting till you get it. And
yeah, it's just people retracting consent. Yeah, it's just these stories come out later, different reasons. The one I mentioned about Aziz was because some girl saw him win an award, got jealous. Who knows what happened with Louis C.K. ones? I think his story is a little bit different too. I don't know how far, like you said, it sounds like it's innocent. Like, I mean, it's a little bit of a horny dude kind of story. Like you could say he was like a little bit of a creep, but he didn't like break the law,
Well, my whole thing on it is it's fucking weird. I'm not going to deny that. I don't understand a guy who would rather masturbate in front of a woman than have sex with her. But being weird is not illegal.
Right.
If you want to jack off in front of somebody and they tell you can, there's no crime there. There's nothing, literally nothing wrong with that. And that's what I was getting at when I said this is what worries me about what's going on, is because in this case, you have a man who did the opposite of rape, the opposite of #MeToo, and his literally career ruined over nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's what worries me. And we're getting to that point. And then you have things like this was in Canada, they had Bill C-16. I'm using that as a reference because I don't remember the names of the bills in California and New York. But in California, they just passed that bill where if you work in a senior's home and you misgender somebody, you can get jail time for it. We're getting to the point. I mean, you don't even have to. What the fuck is going on?
What the fuck is going on in California? I'm here and I don't know what the fuck is going on out there, man. I'm scared.
Are you?
I'm back and I'm here to talk about why England is a shithole country.
Well, no. What I was going to ask you earlier, I wasn't even going to denigrate your country, your fair country. I was just going to ask, as somebody who lives in a country where there's already limited free speech, what do you think when you see things like over here, like what we're talking about right now? In California, you can go to jail if you misgender somebody and you work in a senior's home. You guys are pretty much there already. What do you think about when you see the rest of the world turning that way?
Well, the thing is it seems to be worse in Scotland than it does the rest of the UK. Unfortunately, as you all know, hate speech law here in the UK completely depends on the person who takes offense. And if they perceive, being the key word here, for what you said or what you did to be a hate crime or hate speech, and they report that to the police don't even need to investigate what really happened. As long as someone complains to them, they've got you. And there's been cases of people going to prison. Even here in England, one guy was given his original sentence was like 9 months for trolling in prison. Yeah, I believe it was reduced a great deal, actually. And to see the rest of the seeing Americans, you know, freedom-loving people advocate for this kind of bullshit. To have things like Count Dankula happen over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Where people's, like, you know, if it wasn't for the very, very generous people of the internet who helped Count Dankula out, his life would be fucked. Yeah. He'd be in a ridiculous world of debt. He probably already is in debt, but even worse so now, and then go to fucking prison. Did you guys? And the thing is, I love America. You know me, Monkey. We've known each other for a while now. I want to be in America. I want to move to America because you guys have the First and Second Amendments.
Dude, you should come, man. England's a lost cause, bro. Bail the fuck out.
I keep trying to get him to go to Mexico and sneak in.
Yeah, you better get there before the wall, bro. Unless you can climb. I hope you can climb, dude.
Oh, I saw a documentary about the cartels like spending millions of dollars hiring these engineers to build these drug running channels and stuff. Maybe if I sign up as a runner, I can get in one of these tunnels, shimmy my way to America, boom, get first bus ticket to Ranting Monkey's house for cups of teas and coffees.
You wouldn't like my tea. I make it in the microwave. Did you guys see the story about California, the bill where they want to put people in jail for offering straws, waitresses, if they give somebody a plastic straw without them asking?
I heard about this.
Yeah, and there's a great part of that story when you read it. Originally, they were going to put $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail if a waiter gives you a plastic straw without you asking for it. But to show that they're sensible, they got rid of the fine. So you can still get 6 months in jail for giving somebody a fucking straw,
which puts you out of the job. So you may as well be fined $1,000.
Oh my God, the world is getting fucking weird, and that's why I do what I do.
What's their reasoning? What's their reasoning? Like, is it because it's a phallic-shaped object?
Pollution.
Yeah, it's just another thing trying to save the world with, like, they took away our plastic bags at grocery stores a couple of years ago, and then now it's the straws and oh, by the way, they decriminalized contracting HIV or AIDS, but don't hand out straws.
Knowingly giving somebody AIDS, yeah, they made it a misdemeanor instead of a fucking felony, but you can go to jail for 6 months for giving someone a straw.
And it's a good point. I saw a couple of vids about it too, where, you know, I've served as myself. I've worked at restaurants, and this is going to do is make people have to ask for straws now more, and it's going to get annoying. Which is the same. You know, it's always shits on the customers, but at the grocery store, it's not as big a deal. People are getting annoyed because they don't have bags anymore. Well, you can actually buy bags. They charge you for the bags.
Yeah, they did the same thing over here in the UK. You have to pay, it's like 5 pence for like the normal bags, you know, the ones that always fucking split. And the stronger bags are like a bit more. You have to pay for them basically now. So
they charge us 2 shekels. No, but they're that's fine though. You have bags. It's only 10 cents for me. Usually it's like 10 cents a bag. Whatever. I try to bring my own. Sometimes I forget. Whatever. But at a restaurant, it's actually going to affect people's tips. I feel like it's possible. Like there's going to be customers getting pissed off, asking for straws all the time and whatnot, and then these servers are going to have to deal with it. And yeah, it's just it's a sticky situation.
When I come to America and I get a work permit, I'm going to go. First job I'm going to get is go work in the restaurant somewhere, and they're not going to know the real way that I speak, and I'm just going to put on the Lord Bear thing, and I'll just walk up to like a family of four who are I'll be like, say what would you like? Do you consent to these plastic phallic objects?
I just can't believe we've gotten to a point where you can go to jail for a straw. Go to jail for a straw, have your career ruined for jacking off in front of people who said it's okay to do so. But hey, you want to give somebody AIDS, that's cool.
It's only in California though. It's one of those things that's only in California. California, the next Canada.
The problem is that what starts in California eventually sweeps the country, dude. That nonsense is going to spread. You guys need to put up a wall, not along Mexico, along California and the rest of us, to keep that shit out.
What you need is these, I forget what they're called, those giant fucking seismic fucking hammers. You need some of them. I mean, America, you've got lots of money. You can afford 10 fucking super carriers. Come on, just drop them on the San Andreas fault. Boom, fire, bye. California. See you later.
I think that's the plot to Escape from Los Angeles.
Oh, great.
We could make that a thing.
Thank you, Gregory Hurst. Someday Bear will be telling his immigration story at the State of the Union, waving his crutches in the air. And as for California, who knew it was better to give someone AIDS than a straw?
What happens if you give someone AIDS with a straw?
You get a misdemeanor for the AIDS, but you go to jail for the straw.
Ah, I see.
Would you say that's the last straw?
Indeed.
Pun of the show. Okay.
Both of our countries have bullshit fucking laws, man. People in prison that shouldn't even really be there, like drug use. We both have that bullshit. But you guys don't have. Well, can't you get given jail time in some places in America for the fucking hate speech bullshit?
What happens is hate speech is added on to whatever other crime you were charged with.
So
if I were to beat you up, Bear, I would just be charged with assault. But if I beat you up and said, take that, monkey, then I would get a hate crime added on to it.
I see. Well, of course, there is a difference between a hate crime and hate speech.
Yeah. Hate speech itself doesn't exist. The Supreme Court, and I got to be honest, I was surprised that this was a unanimous decision. The Supreme Court unanimously said hate speech isn't a thing. So all of these people running around talking about hate speech in America, they really, really should pay attention to the Supreme Court, because they said that shit doesn't exist.
I like that.
Did you guys hear about it? This was back in October now. This is how fucked up Scotland is. You think the rest of the UK is bad. This is how fucked up Scotland is. A man was given 90 days in prison for staring at a woman through a pharmacy window. I
saw that shit, yes.
No, I believe what happened was that he went in there. They didn't have what he wanted, so he left. He walked past the pharmacy a couple of times. So he's a bit mental, bless him. And then he goes back and he stops and he stares through the thing. So he's probably like a fucking coked up fucking idiot or something like that. A lot of our pharmacies, they'll give out like a clean needle pack, so like smackheads and stuff. So that probably was the case. I don't know the full details, so don't quote me on that. But instead of the police coming along and saying, "Look, go away," they arrested him for it.
I saw that article. Yeah, that Scotland. I don't know what the fuck's wrong over there. Those people are really sensitive.
It's odd, isn't it? Because all the Scots I've met have been fucking hard drinking, caber throwing fucking monsters.
But somehow their parliament is made up of fucking pussies.
Well, the thing is, they have their own devolved government up there. So you can blame them for trying to govern themselves.
Let me ask you guys this: what do you think right now is the biggest threat to liberty coming from SJWs?
Good question.
Because for me, it's the speech. No matter what else happens, if you can't speak freely, you can't change things. Not without war, I guess. But the attack on speech itself is the most troubling to me.
Well, yeah, if ideas can't be challenged, if they can't be debated, especially in a political atmosphere, then that's a very, very big issue. That's North Korea, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think speech is big on it, and it's some of the things we mentioned before about them trying to change words, word policing, telling you what you could say, what you could talk about, what you could comment on. That's pretty prevalent, especially on YouTube and the places we're talking and trying to have these conversations. Twitter is really bad as well. I think another noteworthy thing, another shit that we're trying to deal with is just there's like a lot of SJWs in the politics and the rules and the things like the courts, the bias against males, the bias for women, and giving them special treatment, letting them get away with murder sometimes, and like this terrible trend in the court systems is really bad for one, and then that kind of bleeds into other things, specifically the favoring of females over males, which you could talk about that all day, but there's things like there's girls' shelters, there's no men's shelters, men are left on the streets. So it's like it goes from the top down, that kind of ideology that puts things on those levels where men are the worst, women are a step above, and then if you're a minority, you get bonus points. So that whole hierarchy they have set up, it goes everywhere.
Okay, hold that thought, because I do want to talk about that. Admiral Thunder Bunny says, Lord Bear must say my name. Thank you for the donation there. Lord Bear, can you say Admiral Thunder Bunny?
Admiral Thunder Bunny.
There you go. Joshua Edwards.
Hello.
There once was a hermit named Dave who kept a dead whore in his cave. He said, I'll admit I'm a bit of a shit, but think of the money I'll save. Thank you for the limerick.
Well written.
I saw, I forget who started the argument that brought it to my attention, but the YMCA is running an ad right now, an ad campaign for homeless women. The YMCA, the M in YMCA is men's, for those who don't know. And somebody pointed out, the homeless problem in the U.S. largely affects men. And the YMCA came back and said, well, this campaign is for men and women. But if you go look at their campaign, men aren't mentioned anywhere. It's all about she and her and taking care of this. Do you think we've put too much of an emphasis on saving women?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that I love women as much as the next guy. I'm a stone cold straight white bread meat loving American over here, but I think there's some imbalance. There's an overcompensation. While I can recognize the facts of life and the fact that men tend to be the protectors, and we should be kind of helping and standing up, especially for people that are smaller and stronger and not as smart as us as women. Let's get that straight out the gate, okay? Women are just dumb and they don't know anything. So we've got to guide them. We've got to guide them. Like
that's going to end up in Real's next video. You know that, right?
Oh God! And you know what as well, right? So. I bet the fucker cuts out with me saying hashtag not all and just leaves me laughing at that. So it makes me look even fucking worse. No, I get what you're saying, Monkey. We had the same attitude towards men here in the UK. And we also had the most recent thing with the whole suicide thing. There was a new trend in females commit. It was like an upturn in females committing suicide. Yet it was still nowhere near the massively ongoing like male suicide problem that we have over here as well. But of course, it's all about the women's, isn't it? We don't give a shit about men because they're disposable garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and back to more serious thoughts. Obviously, I was joking, but that's not going to prevent people from taking quotes of mine out of context. That's what
no, it's not.
People have made careers out of that. So I just like to still throw that out there and give a. So there you go. There's 100,000 views. Whoever wants to make a video on that.
Dibs.
Yeah. but in all seriousness, I think it's just gone too far as favoring females in not just in court and in government assistance, encouraging these like single mother situations and kind of like giving free money and everything. I agree. We need to help them, and there's bums and people out there that are sick and need help and whatnot. I'm not like trying to be anti-charity, but I think the boys, the men need some help too. And that reminds me of another issue. It might be a little bit on this a different side of things, but we're talking about the worst parts of SJW's things. And I actually covered a video similar on this about how, toxic masculinity, that's another interesting, terrible idea that's just anti-male. So I think that goes more into the idea that things are anti-male out there, and I can't stand it.
Real quick, thank you, Admiral Thunder Bunny. I like pie. That's just P-I, not P-I-E. Yeah, I
kill all women.
You fucker.
Sorry,
the toxic masculinity thing. I think that is probably the worst male cancer going on right now in feminism. The idea that being a man is bad, because that's what it is, and they always try to break it down. Well, men, anger. These are the same people who tell you that men have to suppress their emotions. So which one is it? Anger is an emotion. Am I supposed to not suppress that, or is it bad that I do because I'm a man? You can't have it both ways. You can't both.
I think they forget that. I actually thought of something like this too. I covered a story on it. NBC is still pushing this stuff. NBC has some horrible stories. We could get into them more, but yeah, there's this thing where they say men they say, first of all, they say everything's because of culture. They're like the culture tells men they have to act a certain way. The culture is saying men can't have emotion. The culture. I say no. The parents are raising their children. The student or the teachers are the ones teaching them. So if anyone has blame, it's somewhere in the actual people, not this ambiguous culture. And back to the thing you were talking about for emotions, it's like, okay, they say, oh, you men aren't supposed to express emotions, when really it's just like when you're a man, when you grow up, you don't like cry all the time. You try to keep your shit together. You try to stay composed. You try to not be irrational and like just all over the place. But at the same time, I feel like these people forget about anger and they forget about aggression. And those are sorts of emotions where it's like, okay, they're saying guys don't want to cry. Like that's a bad thing. I think controlling your crying is fucking smart in professional or whatever. You don't need to be professional as a kid, but you know what I mean. But I think the people ignore the fact that guys do get angry and aggressive, and those are just different kinds of emotions.
Well, and aggressive is not always a bad thing. We get aggressive with our friends. I mean, the way men interact with each other is different than the way women do. And I see toxic masculinity as a way feminists are trying to make men into women. Because if you look at all of the things that they say are toxically masculine, it's things that are male. And the good emotions that you're allowed to have are all things that are associated with being female. Crying when you're sad, or, hugging, shit that men never used to do. And I'm not saying men should be that way, that you should hide your emotions. I think there's a benefit to not expressing them all the time. I mean, if you run around crying all the time, nobody's going to take you seriously, especially as a man. And I don't think they should, because there's a reason we say man up. And I see toxic masculinity as feminists trying to beat the male out of men.
For sure. And I think it's a lot to do with the other thing you're saying. I would call it feminizing men. They're trying to feminize and make shit on male characteristics. And then on top of that, they're trying to make the men more feminine, the more just whatever beta, submissive, and they probably feed them hefty amounts of soy beverages, I would imagine. But for example, this is something that's been going on, and it's going on here. I mentioned the video I saw from NBC. This was at an American school. I'm not sure what city exactly, but somewhere in America, and they're doing this to these students, and they're talking about toxic masculinity, and these kids are all scared and they don't want to act like boys. They start crying and trying to act like men. Bullshit like that. And if you want to go even further, this shit's been going on in Sweden for a long time now. I did a video about the feminizing of Sweden last summer, I believe, sometime over last year, and they had this huge documentary thing on Vice where these parents were raising their kids to be what they call gender neutral. They're like saying, "Oh, we're not about male or female. We're just raising them and letting them pick their own toys." But really, when you look into it, and this is some of the stuff you were mentioning, Monkey, where they're actually just they say they're doing gender neutral, but really they're trying to raise these boys to be girls, essentially.
Yeah, I saw your video on that. Yeah, real quick. Thank you, Cryptic. Modern women make men emotionally constipated. We stop giving a shit in days. Fair enough.
Like they'll favor like a boy. They say they're raising them neutral, you know, and it's like they put these boy toys and girl toys out there, and then you see them, and they're like, their boys have long hair, they're wearing dresses, they're encouraging the girl stuff and discouraging the boy stuff, and it's gotten so far like where I think maybe if things continue in Sweden, they're going to all be trans, multi-gender, LGBTQ, Latinx by 2020.
Don't forget two-spirit. They'll be two-spirited as well.
Two, yeah.
Fucking two.
I'm so fucking glad my 5-year-old is a fucking little tank.
Yeah. I think boys need... One of the things feminists get pissed off about is the saying, boys will be boys. Here's what I don't get. These are people who love to use the phrase born this way. You can't judge me for how I am. But if a boy is acting in a traditional boyish manner, it's bad. Isn't it possible boys are born that way since most of us act that way?
Testosterone, motherfuckers.
Exactly.
I'm just saying it's very much in our nature. There's a reason why we love like play fighting with our friends and our fucking siblings when we're younger and as we get older. You know?
It's male. It's
the stereotypes aren't coming out of nowhere, you know. It's like they come from the way people have seen boys and men act over the years, over thousands of years, you know, and they see that men tend to be competitive, play sports, man up stuff, you know, they're stronger willed, they're not crying, that kind of thing. And that's not a stereotype. That's not culture telling people to be that way. That's people being that way and it being reflected in the culture.
Well, did you guys see?
Agree. And sorry to interrupt you there, Mark. I mean, it is very, you know, it depends. I think it depends on your upbringing. You know, I think you can have toxic personality traits or toxic attitudes which can be stamped out by yourself, provided you can recognize them.
Thank you, Mr. Shiny Pants. Invite Declan to the stream. He's streaming about this. I'm going to pass.
Is he streaming the stream?
I don't know.
Streamception.
Streamception. No,
we should probably get back to talking about Sargon, seeing as people like, I thought this was about Sargon, even though we spoke about that ages ago.
Yeah, I saw that too. We can bounce back, I think.
We can get back to that in a second. Well, shit, I lost my thought. So
streamception.
What did they want to know about Sargon? Oh, about the video itself? Well, we can recap real fast. The title had nothing to do with losing subscriptions. Was more to do with how NoBullshit sees Sargon losing. What was the word you used here?
It's like a fall from grace. It's a fall from grace, and I think the main thing, a lot of people question whether or not he lost the debate, and I say, you know, he acted like he lost the debate. You know, he did. We can squabble, and you know, people have their different opinions on the debate. It wasn't an official score debate, so there's no official winner. But
Sticks won that debate. Let's be honest, Sticks won that debate.
Yeah, Sticks was great. But I think, you know, if you think about the reactions afterwards, Sargon did an hour after speech thing in his hug box.
He also made his video where he says he let his fans down because he didn't take it.
He apologized. You don't apologize when you win.
Real quick, thank you, Admiral Thunder Bunny. Boys will be boys, girls will be girls, and SJWs will be little bitches. Suck it up, Buttercup. Fair point.
And there's also the point of, you know, Spencer didn't act Spencer acted like he won. I mean, he acted normal. He went on to further debate this topic on other channels. He's also stayed open to re-debating Sargon, which I think Sargon is basically backing out of. There was supposed to be a part 2, and I've heard Andy Worski and other people on Twitter say, you know, Sargon's not responding. He's not saying anything. Spencer says he's ready to go. Sargon's backing out.
I think it's a good idea for Sargon to back out. He does not do good in live debates from what I've seen. He did well in the one in Mythicist Milwaukee, but what he was talking about there was his own actions, and that's a lot easier to defend than arguing against somebody else's ideology.
Well, it's also easier to argue against Thomas Sanders than Richard Spencer. You know, it's a totally different ball games.
And Spencer, this is what Spencer does for a living. He speaks publicly about this stuff. I actually think he did really bad. There were so many times he was asked direct questions and he just didn't answer. He would, one of the very early on in the debate, JF jumped in. It was the first time he jumped in to correct Sargon for not answering a question. And literally 10 minutes later, Spencer was doing the same thing, and there wasn't a peep from JF. So I think Spencer came off actually looking a little better than he should, because one of the hosts was clearly one-sided in it. But to say that Sargon lost the debate does not mean Spencer won the debate. Clearly, the only one who did well in that was Styx. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about debate stuff. I mean, you think about this debate thing. Like, people attack me a lot for losing.
Monkey, I'm sorry to interrupt, Monkey. Can you get Declan to come on here, please? It's really fucking me off that I can't hear what's being said on that other stream. I'm getting angry.
You're angry, Bear angry.
Bear smash. Fuck, I hurt myself.
Is that cool with you, NoBullshit?
Yeah, whichever you want. It's your show.
Do I have him in my... What the hell's his name on here?
I never heard of him, but we can talk to him.
He was the one you were arguing with before the hangout, dude.
Oh, yeah, I never heard of him before. I was just commenting.
Okay.
Genuinely angry that I can't hear what's being said.
There you go. I sent the link out. That made me lose my train of thought. Thanks, Bear.
Sorry, mate. That's what I do. I derail shit. You should know this by now.
I know. That's why I bring you on, because it gives me something else to talk about. I don't think there's a whole lot more to say about the Sargon thing, other than, I mean, you're allowed. I got a lot of shit because I've made two videos now about Sargon.
Do you want to talk about more of the fallout, like, you know, him getting upset, getting, you know, kind of like the stepfather jokes that kind of might have got under his skin?
Sure.
There's other parts to it, you know. I didn't actually get to all of it.
He responded to your first video, didn't he? In the comments?
Yeah, he didn't watch it though. He just responded. He just wrote a comment.
Nice.
Yeah, but it shows, actually, that's a funny point, because he came and responded to my video like within a couple hours of its release. So it shows that people are still feeding him information and giving him like links to videos about him, and like he's coming in like really quickly. You know, it's like, it's another thing that kind of got attacked for that Murdoch video that was linked by Mr. Medicare, and then Sargon thought it was made by Medicare, but then he found out it wasn't, and he was getting that information from his little goons too. So he's got these like little crews, which is very similar to the stuff that we went over before, and I went over in my first part, with these like cliques, these Discord servers, these little chats that are kind of like just really gay, shady, lame 24-hour ops. Like it's so cringy.
Hang on just a second there. Dr. Howie Felterschnatch, OBGYN, thank you so much. Queen Chicken. Okay. I don't know what a Queen Chicken is, but I appreciate the donation. As a YouTuber, I do get, I haven't had many responses made to me. But as soon as one pops up, I get people coming to tell me that one was made. I'm not saying that Sargon doesn't have people who are on the lookout for that, but I don't think that's necessarily unusual. Or something that you can blame him for. that make
Yeah,
sense?
I guess he could have just gotten a random message. I guess
Oh,
it's
I get
possible.
The last one that was made about me, I think I got 5 different DMs. And this is a channel nobody watches. So I'm not sure how people even found it. But so I that's a point that I think isn't necessarily as bad as like the Kraut server. The Kraut server clearly had a purpose, and they were
What do you think about the part where Sargon's pretending to be black?
I'm sorry, Sargon pretending to be black. What did I miss there?
The new Talcum X 2.0.
I missed this.
You guys didn't hear about his black grandpa?
I did not.
I've not. What?
Oh, I thought everyone knew about that. Like, where he said his grandpa was black before, and he used that against SJWs to like get victim points. Like he's part minority.
Oh, no.
But now it's kind of like been proven that that's bullshit. I mean, they have proof of his parents on video being like fully white, and other people have done videos about it. Alternative Hypothesis has covered it a few times. I thought it was very interesting.
It is possible that his grandparents could be throwbacks.
Have you seen Irate Bear? His mom is blacker than the background of the screen right now, and he is whiter than I am.
Yeah, but my dad was white. Male genetics stronger than female.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but
it's possible. I mean, I don't know. He's backpedaled off of that a few times, though. He said he said he was black, then he said it was part black, and then he said he wasn't sure. They never talked about it, so it's looking more and more like.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if maybe you guys think he's part black. I don't think he's part black.
I don't know if he is or not. I do know it's possible to look white and actually have black ancestry, but I'd never heard this, so this is just funny to me.
It's pretty good, right?
I have told people that I am a black female midget lesbian.
With no arms or legs. You're actually a sandbag.
No, I haven't gone that far.
No offense to any sandbags out there, of course.
I have my real cripple status. I don't have to make that part up. But yeah, that's kind of weird if he did that.
He did it. I'm not making that up.
No, whether
you can reach your own conclusions.
Serious?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
this is on record. Okay. Yeah, you could look it up again. I'll send you links. Like I said, there's a couple clips about it, but I'm not. I kind of have my own conclusions, but I don't think he's part black.
Yeah, I would happen to agree with you from what I've seen of him, but wow, yeah. Let's get to the Coach Red Pill stuff. Oh, go ahead.
Before you get there, I would like to just repeat what I said earlier. For those who don't know, I made 2 videos criticizing, not like harshly or anything. I thought I was quite pleasant, actually. Sargon's liberalist movement, and I sort of gave advice on what I think he should do next with it. And I suggested he should create an alternative media platform. With at the end of the day, there's a YouTuber, Iconoclast, who has like 54,000 subscribers. He has his own alternative media platform. Sargon certainly could easily set up his own with, he's a large YouTuber, has a great deal of influence, has a great network of people who can reach out to, has a fuck ton of like patron money every month as well.
There's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons fan clubs he could totally get in on.
You ass.
Well, I don't know what the Dungeons and Dragons demographic is. I've never played the game.
I've played the pen and paper version for the record. I'm that big of a nerd. I'm okay with it. Coach Red Pill. I'll just lay this out there. I think the guy's scummy. I've never liked him, and the stuff that went on between him and Sargon just shows what kind of person he is. The DMs that we got to see in Sargon's video. You've come out and did you actually say Sargon doxed him, or just that he was using the information that was out there?
Yeah, I didn't say the doxed part. I said he was actually kind of tricked into using the dox by Kraut.
Now, I do have a problem with that because watching Mediker's video and getting to see the whole, plan of the Kraut server, the battle plan, it certainly looks like that's what happened. But if there was no reason to think Sargon was going to make a video on this until Coach Red Pill made his video that specifically charged Sargon with being part of this. I inadvertently, Kraut might have been right, but I don't think it plays the way that it seems to. I think Sargon was just responding to somebody was being a dickhead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's possible. And, you know, someone attacks you, you might think to use all the information you could find. But in my opinion, I don't usually dig up dirt on people. I don't find background information. I don't go to Kiwi Farms and like look up their private personal, like this, they did this and they're 10 years ago business interactions. Like I don't do that. I know the people on the left like to do that a lot. I know a lot of people approve of that too. I mean, half of Batnin's video was like stuff that he dug up on me, videos I did 10 years ago in college, you know, shit like that. So, I mean, I know that's one of their tactics and they think that's cool. I don't think that's cool. I think that's shady. I think a lot of people agree with me too. I've heard others on the Kumite, like Andy and Tonka, going into how it was very shady for, you know, Sargon to use this private information that Coach wasn't putting out there, regardless if he finds it on Kiwi Farms. Like Kiwi Farms is basically a dox laundromat. Everyone puts shit on there to try to get doxed. So
sure.
I think
they have a whole thread about me on there as well.
Yeah, mine too.
And they don't have my docs though. They just don't like me.
Yeah, in my opinion, if you go to that step, it means you're not attacking their videos or their arguments. Like if you can't attack the video specifically, you start digging up information. And I say that's shady.
Real quick, thank you, Apollyon. Monkey, if you're a black, female, midget, lesbian, then you need to kick bear in the balls. I have all of my limbs, so I don't quite.
He needs to have a left arm off.
I agree with what you're saying there, actually, and I hadn't quite thought about it that way. I think Sargon could have made his point in his video with just the DMs. I think that showed enough of what a
and that's actually a good point. Here's another thing I want to bring up, just since you said DMs, like leaking DMs is shady too. I mean, I know there's some points where you think it's justified, and it probably is justified in some situations, but I've noticed this time and time again. People have leaked my DMs a lot, and I have nothing to hide. I'm not really worried about the information. I never say anything in a DM I wouldn't say publicly, because I know that people leak them. But what I'm getting at is, it's only shady leftists that do that.
Well,
I guess they think that's cool. Like it's like the same thing where they dig up their background information. It's just another underhanded, shady tactic.
My DMs are private. That's my rule. But in Sargon's case, Coach Red Pill did release him first, so I do give him a pass on that because he was correcting the record. And in that case, I have no problem with that. But I do think that, going to Kiwi Farms is probably it's a shitty step. That's not even something that was necessary.
Unnecessary for sure.
Declan, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself, guys?
Not bad at all.
Thanks for
what are you saying about me?
Hey, I was singing your praises, Bear. What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't fucking hear it, could I?
We were sucking your dick in the other live stream.
I don't think you were. I don't think you were. I think you were fucking me up the arse without the fucking pleasantry of giving me a fucking reach around. Come on.
I think that was more Brooke than anything else. Sorry, man. It was basically solely aimed at him, not you. You actually asked some questions, which was good. So I really like that.
So do you have issues with what's been said so far?
Yeah, because I've watched Brooke's first video a lot, and I've watched his second video because I was in the process of reviewing it. And
thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
No worries. You like to lord your subs and views over people, it seems. That's a pretty interesting tactic. You do realize that doesn't make your argument correct, right?
Never said it does. I never lorded my subs or numbers over you either.
You did. I had the screen cap. You said, I get so many more views than you. You know, my Sargon view got more than I would ever get. Or more than I do get. So you actually did. I have the
Sorry, you got to slow down. I can't understand that accent. Is that Australian?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, down under, mate. Dundee, coming down, crikey. No, I said that because you said my video was a joke, correct?
Yeah, it was a joke.
Okay, and I said, well, yeah, it's a joke, and I'm glad people are laughing and watching it. It got more views than anything you've ever done.
So you meant it to be like a parody joke video? Is that what you're saying now?
No,
so
it's not what I'm
the
saying.
guilt by association that you directed at Sargon, in which you said at the start that we're basically.
Wait.
No, let me talk.
Whoa.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Guys.
No,
no. You're saying you say.
Guys.
Let me talk, but I didn't get to.
I'm going to start muting. Declan, go ahead and finish your thought there, and no bullshit. We'll get to it. Hang on just a second. Go ahead.
Sure. V watched my video as well, so we can back this up. But you say that Sargon basically wasn't involved in it at all, and then at the end of the video, you say, "Do you think Sargon should have been punished more for his involvement in the Discord server?" You did say at the start that Sargon had basically nothing to do with it, and then you're saying he should be punished anyway for the actions of other people. You do realize this is guilt by association, correct?
Sure, you could say that.
No,
guilt by association. Guilt by association isn't inherently wrong.
Yes, it is. What do you
says? Who?
What do you mean?
You?
So because Sargon knew this person that did something,
he knew it was his best friend.
Should be punished for it.
Gentlemen, stop talking over each other for just a fucking minute. Then maybe you might get some fucking discourse. All right.
For the record, there was more than just Sargon knew this person. Kraut did let him know that he had the information on Coach Red Pill.
And they're best friends. He knew what was going on. They've known each other forever. Like, I mean, you could say guilt by association. You think that gets you out because I could tell you're all about arguments and you think you're in the halls of debate here. But this is the real world. And if you associate with sketchballs all the time, then you're going to be thought of as a sketchball. I mean, that's just how it is. If you yourself, Declan, or whatever your name is, you were always hanging out with gangsters and drug dealers, like, wouldn't that guilt by association be recognizable? Do you think, would you ignore that?
So you're saying that Kraut is like a drug dealer? You're not saying that.
No, that's not what he was saying. He was making a comparison.
But
it's guilt by association. It's guilt by association.
If I haven't done drug dealing, then no. Why would I be blamed for that?
So if you kept hanging out with them and you still hung out with them after they got caught with the drugs, and then you're also pushing and doing the same kind of tactics later.
If they were caught with the drugs and I still hung out with them, obviously, but Sargon still didn't, because once he found out, he told Kraut to stop. I heard the talk as well, in which Kraut broadcasted it to Jeff Holiday and the Discord server. So Sargon did tell Kraut to stop. And then he did disassociate, and he's not best friends with Kraut either. They know each other on YouTube, sure.
So why did he use the docs that on Coach Red Pill that were on Kiwi Farms, even though Kraut told him that he found that stuff?
You'll have to ask Sargon. I didn't actually hear Kraut say to Sargon that he actually found that wasn't in that discussion.
He said he had docs on Red Pill.
I didn't hear. Well, if Kraut actually did say that he had docs on Red Pill to Sargon, and then he went to, because this wasn't in your videos, so if this is an actual, look, if this was an actual point that you wanted to make that I didn't know, then I would have. I would have.
I'm making it. I'm hitting you right now.
I agree with you on that point.
Can I ask you a question, Declan?
Sure.
Declan, sorry, I keep saying your name wrong.
That's okay.
Declan.
Declan.
How do you feel about somebody using information from Kiwi Farms? We were just talking about this right before you got there. I have no problem with Sargon using the DMs in his Coach Red Pill video, but I do think it's kind of sketchy to use Kiwi Farms in there. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't use Kiwi Farms either. I don't think that's a good, and I don't have to defend everything Sargon does, obviously.
No,
it's just the way that. But I agree with, bud. Yeah, sure. I don't think that you should use. I really don't like doxing, so I don't personally think you should use information from Kiwi Farms.
Can I put some questions to both of you chaps?
Yeah, sure.
Regarding the collection of information for content, is that okay by both of you? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Cool beans. Okay, so let's say my name was on my Facebook, right? And one of you went to go find my Facebook because you knew my first name, you know what I look like because my face is on there. But by digging up that information that is public, because I have my profile set to public, you then find out where I live and my surname. is it okay because that information is public for you to put that in a video?
Can I answer this first before they do? I would say it depends on why you were doing it. I can't think of a legitimate reason to put that information in a video. So I would say no, it's not okay, because it's not going to have anything to do with your argument. Where you live is not going to influence why you. Well, you could suggest, you know, well, he lives in this country, so that means he's probably going to lean this way. But even that's not a guarantee. So I don't see a valid reason for using that stuff.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, I think it's just it's desperate. It's shady. It shows that you'll do anything it takes. It's dirty politics, essentially. I mean, when I make videos, I just review the video straight up. There's been other times I might have known other information, or I'll look up Beyonce's other albums or something random. But I'm not like digging up people's stuff off of kiwi farms and like trying to find out where they went to college, looking up their LinkedIn's, searching IMDb. Like that shit is that's just not cool.
And Declan?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you should use someone's Facebook information. As Ranting Monkey said, there would be no point because it doesn't debunk the
Facebook was the example, but my the information's out there.
Yeah,
like I'll give you an actual real life example. You know the YouTuber Paracynical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His face was out there, and he didn't really want his face out there, and yet Keemstar from Drama Alert kept posting pictures of him on Twitter, bringing attention to information that was public. Was that okay, or was that not okay?
I don't think that's okay. No.
Okay.
I think where you're going with this is that's virtually similar to what Sargon did to Coach Red Pill. That's what we were talking about before. He spread the docs. So in a way, especially when the people have more of a reach, spreading the docs is just as bad as revealing the docs. So we could squabble about doxing and the words and the language, but at some point, like Bear mentioned with Pyro, it's like Keemstar had 1 million subscribers and he's spreading it out harder. So it's like that's worse than actually finding the picture.
Sure, but you didn't
I just wanted to establish that and just sort of where we were on that, because it's something that has been a big part of what's gone on with Sargon, what's gone on with Kraut, everything that's really gone on in the last couple of months. And I just really wanted to establish your guys' positions on it.
Cool. Declan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
How did you think Sargon did in the debate with Spencer? Well, what was your take on that?
I didn't think he did particularly well. I don't think Spencer did particularly well either. But no, a lot of the criticisms you were giving him were quite fair. He did seem to come into it quite arrogant, and I think he thought he would just destroy Richard Spencer. So yeah, and like this is actual criticism that Sargon can use for the future. My main gripe with Brooks is that if he had actually spent the video going over this sort of, then it would have been fine. But it wasn't really anything to do with Sargon. He just made the claim, and then he screwed himself over at the start by saying Sargon wasn't really involved in either. So, and if you don't believe me, Brooks, I've got the clips. So that's my main contention with you. You could have brought all this information to the forefront. That would have been a lot more of an interesting video. Did
you watch the second part?
I did. I haven't reviewed it yet, so I did watch it once though.
Oh, we got a review coming in. Great, another one. Let's see.
Mate, like I said, if you had just responded to my arguments and just said I was autistic, and
well, are you autistic?
No. Are you?
No, I was just checking.
Okay, everybody's
cool. We're all not autistic.
Yeah, we're all good. But no, I was gonna say, I think this is more like what you're confusing, like your expectations. Like you expected something out of my first part video, and I mean that's you. And there might be an argument that I portrayed it incorrectly. I thought I made it pretty clear that this was going to be multiple parts, and the first one was kind of setting the stage and getting things set up for the fall. I even mentioned that at the end. I very clearly said, that we're going to get more into it in the second part. So I think this may be more on you kind of having these expectations, and then you're blaming me for not meeting your expectations.
No, but you said you had all of this information that you had to, and you're calling it the Fall of Sargon. and you tried to link in Sargon into the first video, and you failed. And so you can say expectations.
You don't think Sargon had anything to do with that Kraut server going
down? The information that I have now, I would reassess my thoughts. But the information that you gave from your video, I would say definitely not. And that's my problem. You didn't go through this at all. But say if you had put forth the information such as Sargon had known and stuff, then
my video went through. Okay, it said they were best friends. It said,
but I don't believe that. Like, because with YouTube, I've got some YouTube friends, and you're acting like they're in contact all the time. And I've watched a lot of Sargon's videos, and he was acting like he wasn't really. And you can, believe him or not. But
well, if I can step in there, there's a video where Sargon comes out and says he's going to stop defending Kraut, and in it he mentions, I don't know if I'd use the term best friends, but that they are good friends, and they do talk often.
Sure. But like,
so that's what I was saying. And then the other part I was saying in my video, I mentioned that, Kraut told him about these docs. He put them on the Kiwi Farms, and Kraut basically used Kiwi Farms and Sargon to spread the docs. And that was, I made that very clear. I said that in the video. I think you've made a more of a realization now, but that was said in there before. Maybe you just didn't see it or didn't want to believe it. Like you don't want to believe that he was friends with Kraut.
No, like I said, I didn't say that they're not friends. You keep saying best friends. I don't think that they are best friends because that has connotations to it.
We're also not allowed to have best friends anymore. So,
and if I can just throw this out there real quick, it seems to me, at least, that a majority of your criticism is about the language he chooses, not necessarily the foundation behind it. Like for the instance, in this specific example, he said best friends a few times, and you're objecting just to that specific wording, correct?
It's more the connotations that come with it, because if you say best friends,
no, that's fair.
Yeah, but in this case, yes. But like I said, if Brooke had done his video like we were chatting now about this information and gone through it, it would have been completely fine. I don't care if you criticize Sargon or not, but it wasn't criticism. He just made claims and he didn't back it up, and thus, like I said, coming away from this, I have to do more research, obviously, to see the exact story. But coming away from Brooks, you would just instantly believe Sargon because the opposition's argument was ridiculous.
No, I think that's more you and your bias. Like, I think a lot of people were feeling the same way. Like, if you don't like me already, you're not going to believe my video and you're going to go for Sargon.
I had nothing against you. I didn't really like you. You obviously have no clue who I am. I'm only a tiny 8K sub. I had never seen your channel before, so I had no like. I didn't like.
So you haven't been following me around in chats and comments and Twitters and.
Well, what do you mean? After the video, I've tweeted at you a couple of times, and you've been destroyed by people in my as into what is an argument. But no, I haven't been following you around.
Okay, if you say so. But
yeah, I do. And I was actually sad. I heard that you got banned off Twitter. I was sad. I don't want anyone to get banned. So yeah, I don't think about you that much.
Back, and you can follow him in the link below, guys.
Okay.
I do wonder, because as I watched NoBullshit's video, I didn't have trouble following along because I've been following this since it all broke. I understood pretty much. I see your criticism, and I told NoBullshit earlier with the first video. I think there was a miss there. He could have spent a little more time explaining why that part mattered. But for a lot of us who were following this pretty closely to begin with, I think we all saw where that was coming from anyway. So I don't necessarily disagree with some of your criticism there, but I don't necessarily think it was a conscious choice on his part to go, oh, I'm gonna leave this out to make it look bad or anything.
Yeah, I could agree to that, and I think there is a weird place I was trying to hit with that first video that probably could have been done better. I think all my videos in some ways can, but what I'm getting at is I felt like I needed to do a recap. I wanted to do a recap of this drama that would be going on for the month before, and I kind of wanted to put that out in my first video, and then at the end kind of tease and lead off into the next one, and that was the real, the fall of Sargon, the debate, the loss, all that stuff, the crying, the hug box, all that.
I think your title really screwed you. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I get what you're doing, and as if you as I said earlier, if you watch this as a series, they make a lot more sense. And if you do a third part where you go deeper into, especially the Kiwi farm part of it, and I don't think that necessarily came over very well either, because it wasn't until we were just talking now that I'm like, you know what, that is pretty fucked up. I hadn't thought about it the way that you expressed it here. Sure. As a series, it makes more sense. If you're watching these videos individually, especially without the context, because in your first one, didn't you link Medicare in the description and everything?
Yeah. The first one was Medicare and Coach Red Pill were involved, and I linked them. Yeah,
so if you've seen all of Medicare stuff on it too, or watched the Andy streams that are way too goddamn long, damn it, Andy. I think they make a lot more sense. So I don't think Declan's criticism is necessarily entirely wrong here. But again, I don't think it was a malicious thing. I think it was more, I mean, so many of us watched all of this shit unfold, all of it. And it's easy as a creator to sometimes forget that your audience doesn't know everything you do. Is that a fair enough thing to say?
And that definitely, like I said, if the video had been like some of the discussion on this live stream now, I wouldn't have had an issue in it. But if you watch that video, and even his second video wasn't great, or was better than the first one,
thank you.
He just makes a lot of baseless claims that, like, if you had backed them up, it would have been fine. But yeah, like, you've given a lot more context now to it, and I'm glad I came on, because obviously I've got to do more research on it, because I don't know the situation 100%.
And I will warn you now, I've known No Bullshit for a while. It's possible you watch this and still think he's an asshole, but that's okay. He's a lovable asshole.
I don't care if he's an asshole. No,
I need to interrupt one of you guys. Monkey, is it okay?
Sure.
For a creator or a group of creators to have a live stream where they end up discussing other creators?
Yes, absolutely.
Is it not cowardice to not invite them?
No, it's not cowardice not to invite them. Is it cowardice not to invite somebody onto a video you made about them?
I'm not making the argument. I'm just
I know. I'm
parroting someone from the chat.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. People talk about other. One, it's being done publicly. Two, there's nothing wrong with speaking about other people. If they come on and go, hey, I want to come on, I would go, you know what? Maybe another time if I didn't want to speak to them at that point. Not everybody has to be involved in every conversation. There doesn't have to be an argument every time people are speaking. No, there's nothing cowardly about talking about people who are public figures. No.
Yeah.
So
I
hope that
it's not just that either as well. I mean, Sargon being the biggest creator in the fucking genre, the fucking guy, he knows I've been trying to get his attention as well, right? Because I went through fucking Count Dankula. I went, Dan, can you speak to Sargon for me? Because nigger ignores me. And he's still ignoring me, even though he's acknowledged that I want him to come to my event. So
wait, are you calling him N-word now because you found out about his black grandpa?
Oh, if somebody wants to invite Sargon on, by all means.
If anybody has the fucking ear of him, yeah, I'd be happy to.
No, honestly, actually, that was something that came up to me too. There was like a few comments on my video on these two videos, and they said you should just talk to Sargon about it. I'm just like, I never talked to him before. I mean, I don't like Monkey was hinting at with the stuff. Like, I don't contact everyone that I make videos about.
I never do.
Yeah, I know some people, and there's sometimes I might send a message or ask some clarification, whatnot. But it's not like I don't know all these people or anything. I don't know Sargon at all.
The only times I've ever contacted anybody about a video I was making about them
was me.
I've done it to Bear. I've done it to Wizard of Cause. I've done it to friends of mine to give them a heads up. Hey, I'm about to drop something on you, and I offer to let them watch it before it goes live. But it's still going live as is.
Charles Hartman, good grief, your arguments are fucking stupid. This has hardly been an echo chamber, has it? Fuck me. Anyway, I've spoken to Sargon a total of 3 times. Once in a private hangout with Dave Cullen and a bunch of other people, and they're like CEO of Minds, and the other 2 times were in DMs. And I argued with him both fucking times. I don't think that he likes me very much. So I don't think he would listen to me anyway.
But guys, I do need to wrap this up. I have other things to do. Any closing statements from anybody? Anything you guys want to plug?
You're all gay.
You're an asshole.
I'll just say thanks for having me on again. Nice to speak to everyone. Nice to see the chat. 400 people. That's awesome. I do have a new Twitter at Brooks Heatherly. I have been silenced once, but I'm back, and I'll be making more videos. Link below. Last thing I'll say is fuck your arguments. Arguments don't matter. All I care about is views and money.
You asshole. You know that's going to get clicked. You know, fucker. Bear, anything you want to say?
I've made a video about furries today and SJWs in the furry community. Go watch it. It's a good fucking video. I worked hard on it.
These two guys are both linked in the description. Declan is not. He will be after the stream is over. Wasn't expecting him to come, but Declan, thank you. Is there anything you want to throw out there or plug?
No, it's great to finally chat with you. Thanks for the clarification on a lot of it. So, yeah, just thanks for having me on. It was an interesting discussion.
Arguing in the live stream equals an echo chamber. Charles Hartman, you are officially a fucking retard.
Of course.
And I have watched your stuff, Declan. We've never had a chance to spoke, but I know a chance to spoke. I do the English good, guys. But I have watched your stuff, so I have no problem pimping you out as well. Guys, thank you all so much for joining me. Everybody, the Lords of the Night stream will be on my channel tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there. Thanks for coming. Bye, guys.
Bye. Fuck
Bye.
off.